Many of us finished Final Fantasy VII Remake and were pretty surprised. And as the credits rolled, we found ourselves wondering, what does this mean for the story of the game from here on out? Now in my opinion, the potential knock-on effect may be huge, and may lead to some of our favourite characters dying later on. The most likely of who I think are Aerith, of course, but also Tifa and Cloud. Now the reason why I think that the party still won't walk away completely unscathed is because quite a few main and secondary casts died in the original. And at the moment, no one really seems to be dying in the remake. The game itself, as well as the creators, have already mentioned the unknown possibilities, and Aerith stressed the freedom that they now have. So the creators have given themselves a license to do what they want. Aerith even said in her scene at the garden that everyone dies eventually, meaning that she's aware that every character will die, because they're human. But it may not be when we think. Also, there's a whole lot of death flags everywhere. Literally everyone's walking around and saying things which make you wonder if they're going to make it to the end of the chapter, let alone the next game in the remake. So let's have a look at why I think it's going to be Tifa, Aerith and Cloud specifically. So we'll start with Tifa. So the main reason that I think it's going to be Tifa is that we simply don't expect it. She's a very popular character with many players, so it would definitely be dramatic and have a strong emotional impact. Also, it appears that very early in the game, she's being pushed on us as the main love interest, and moments of closeness with Cloud, such as the hug, have happened quite early on, which could indicate that the creators may have put it in as a substitute for later interactions that may no longer happen. But how about Aerith? Well, I think there's a good chance that Aerith may still die. She did in the original, and the creators have said that we should assume the story will continue as we know it. But at the same time, we know that Red 13 said at the end that the future in which they got a vision of, which is the future that we know the game ends with, it's not the future that they really want. It's the bad future. So everything is pointing towards the story changing significantly, which is part of the reason why Aerith might still not really die. And the third most likely is of course Cloud. I think there is a really good chance Cloud might die. Not just because we've seen how overly self-sacrificing he seems to be, and that's across the entire compilation he's been like that, but also because of two other reasons. The first being that if there's another timeline or parallel world crossover like we saw at the end, if they do cross over and meet each other, then there's a possibility there may be two Clouds in the game at once, meeting each other even. If this is the case, this would provide a very good reason for one of them to die or sacrifice themselves. I could go into which one I think it will be that sacrifice themselves, but that's for another video. The second reason is that Cloud has Genova cells in him. Every problem with the planet, from the extinction of the Cetra through to Sephiroth and the Geostigma, it all stems from Genova's interference. This could lead to a possible ending in which everyone infected with Genova cells has got to go. And that includes Sephiroth, Zack, and of course Cloud. Now I like to think that we as gamers will end up being given a choice. They've given us so many opportunities to pick between Tifa and Aerith throughout the game, and with the third option resulting often in a scene with Barret, scenes which I believe focused more on Cloud growing more holistically as an adult, as opposed to actually growing romantically, which the other choices would tend to tip you towards. So what's your thought on the topic? Who do you think is the most at risk of not making it to the end of the game? Let me know down in the comments below. By the way, one reason why I don't think Barret's going to die, even though he's literally a walking death flag, is because he's already died. So it would feel a bit empty to kill him twice. We already saw everyone's reaction to that, and we already experienced it ourselves. It would be a pretty boring storytelling choice in my opinion if they went that route. So why would I make such a morbid video? Easy. Because as a storyteller, I'm interested in how writers play with foreshadowing, subvert audience expectation, and mess around with character development to make us really feel stuff. So, that's it for today. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to check out these other theory and analysis videos that I've created about the Final Fantasy VII Remake. That's all for now. Until next time.